Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Sophia with Garden State Film Festival. It is in its 21st year. We have over 230 films from 23 countries from March 23rd to March 26th. You can check it out across 9 venues in Asbury Park, New Jersey. One of the films you could check out is this super cool short film called NESO. Here to talk to us about the film is Josiah Knuth, who is the writer, director, and made the score for the film. Josiah, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am so honored to interview you today. Thanks for taking some time out to talk to us about the film.
Of course.
So let's get it started by you telling everybody a little bit about NESO.
Well, NESO is kind of it's a short film that is in space. We didn't actually film in space, despite the rumors. But it's basically about this guy who's trapped in an escape pod. So the whole movie is basically one location, this really cramped space pod that he is stuck in. And when there's not really an explanation as to how he gets in there, but his controls don't work, so he can't really control anything. He has to, figure out a way to save himself from colliding with a planet that the ship is on a careening course to, and that's basically the movie.
That is the movie. What a plot and location. Where did we come up with this idea and
Well,
when?
so the whole ship is a set that my dad and I built, and we filmed the whole thing in a classroom over 3 days. And But the location of it being in space, I was in film school at Liberty University, and I for some reason had not seen the movie Alien yet. And when I finally, my friends were like, "Hey, you need to watch this," and I watched it. I watched it again. I watched it again. I watched it again, and I just like soaked it all in. And I just wrote this script in like just kind of one night.
Wow.
And so that's like basically the whole inspiration of putting it in space.
It was Alien. That was the inspiration.
Alien. I also am a huge fan of
So
Interstellar.
you're a
Some
sci-fi
other,
fan. Like this genre is
definitely
not new to
definitely a
you.
sci-fi fan for sure, for sure. But Alien was the thing that pushed me to be like, you know what? They built this whole set. I can do something small like this. I can try
Wow.
it myself, and it worked.
Oh, so that was like the big inspiration that they built the set in the movie. How long did so like when did you decide
So
you guys were gonna build this set and then how long did it take?
So it was something that like I kind of brought it up with my dad. He's really handy with building stuff. He's an engineer. And So I just kind of had this idea of an octagon, an 8 wall thing, and I figured I had seen kind of what it would take to build a wall like that, and something like that is pretty straightforward. And so once we got the process, or like once I decided that's what we were going to do, I spent like a couple weekends in September and October of visiting my family, my parents, and building it there. And then we spent probably like, I don't know, the whole 2 weeks before filming it, just decorating it with a bunch of stuff, just
Wow.
grabbing some random stuff that looked cool from Home Depot or like a like to go container or something and spray painting it, just like random stuff just to make it
So
look more
creative.
interesting. Yeah.
And have you ever done something like that before? Have you ever built a set?
No, I have not. I'm really into building Legos, and I figured it wasn't going to be too much different, and it
It
was,
wasn't.
but it was still a really good inspiration for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. It's crazy because my dad's an engineer too. And
Oh,
I don't think he has the creativity. I mean, no offense, he probably does, but I don't think he can build a set like this. So shout out to your dad
yeah, yes,
and you.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
awesome. So on most of this film, we see the main character who was played Jonas, played by Hunter.
Yep.
How did you get Hunter, and what was it like directing this film?
Well, so Hunter and I actually lived together for a full 2 years before making this, and I kind of wrote the character based on him. I did some storyboards beforehand, and I kind of just used his face and his hair as inspiration for the character. And when it became time to like start thinking of actors, I was like, "There's no one else I'm going to pick. It's obviously going to be this guy." So I was very lucky to have him, as he was my roommate, so I could just knock on his door like, "Hey, you want to talk some character right now," and it just worked out really well.
Perfect. And what was it like directing him? I mean, most of it is just him in this pod. So
It,
what was
it
that
it was
process?
interesting. It's something that like this is my my first like real short film that I've done, and there's definitely some things I think I would have changed going back. Like I know I was the director of him, but I feel like a lot of what I was focused on was making sure the like graphic on the TV was correct, making sure all this continuity was correct on the walls and everything like that. Hunter's a great actor, and so he made it work. But I think there are a couple things that I would have just liked to. I think I would have liked to be more involved in just directing him. If I for if I were able to redo it, I think I would like to do that. But he and I are close, so he kind of knew what I was thinking a lot of times, so I didn't have to do too much work in directing him.
Right. And it's awesome you say that. It's one of the questions I always ask filmmakers is like, what did you learn on this process that you'll take to the next? So it's awesome that you're already thinking about, okay, next project,
Yeah,
I will,
absolutely.
be more hands-on with that. But like you said, there were so many moving parts of this film, and you talked about the graphics, which is a question I had, if that was practical or if that was done in post.
That was all practical. I
Wow.
designed that in Adobe After Effects. Some of the graphics like crashed in the middle of filming, so during lunch I had to make a few. Like I had to literally create a few graphics while we were filming, basically. But I knew right from the get go. I'm a huge fan of CRT TVs, the old tube TVs, and I knew we had to have it practical. There would be no way to make a kind of rounded screen like that look real if it wasn't practical. And yeah,
That's so awesome. So what was that like on set? Did you have someone like moving the keys? Was it like what were those
yes.
moving parts like?
The We had a lot of my friends, a lot of my classmates were just on set, on standby. Like, hey, go, turn this light on, go turn it off, or
Mhm.
like, we'd have different cues. Like I would point, like you do this time and this time and this time. All the stuff that's on the computer, they were all pre-rendered animations that I would tell them to when to press play and when to stop it, when to go to the next one. So it was a little bit of a dance having
Mhm.
Hunter try and push a button on the keyboard and timing it perfectly with the next animation that happens, because he's not controlling
Okay.
anything. He's just reacting and kind of acting like that.
Wow. So how many rehearsals do we need any rehearsals for this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, each there were definitely rehearsals for a lot of the shots. There were some that we were lucky enough to like we kind of had it timed out where sometimes the screen wasn't in the same frame, so we could kind of cut back and forth between the shot of him hitting the key and the screen changing. But the take that took the shot that took the most takes was definitely the match lighting scene at the end of the movie when he's lighting a match and he's trying to throw it into the engine room to start his engines up again. That shot is like I think it's like a 1 minute shot, maybe 45 seconds, and we did 14 takes on that one. And
Wow.
like the second to last one was the best one, so it definitely was worth it.
And more about the set. I mean, the lighting you have. I know that the cinematographer you had, who was amazing,
He's
Daniel
amazing.
Rye, he
Yeah.
also did the color on the film. So how did you guys come up with the look and feel? How much of that was like post and the lighting on the set?
The coloring, it was a I'm not sure if he did a whole lot of like uh, sh- I don't know, shot by shot coloring, because
Mhm.
basically what happened was the film got delayed because of COVID, and then so I was sending off stuff to different people in the post world. So he was in a whole different place of the country at that time, and so we weren't able to get like a full coloring thing going. But for the most part, a lot of the colors you see are just from on set being practical. Daniel had these four lights called Asteras, I think, and he can control. Each one had like I want to say like 16 pixels, light pixels on them, and he could control all that from his phone. And so a lot of this lighting we did, we were deciding on set like, oh, a green light would look good coming from here, or a yellow light would look cool coming from here. He could just change it instantly on his phone. He didn't need to like
Oh,
set up a bunch of gels and whatnot. So that absolutely saved the film, was him bringing in those four lights, and those are very expensive lights. I'm very
wow.
grateful that he did that.
It looked really awesome. And even the movement, with the camera at the end, we don't want to give
Yep.
anything away, but
Right.
it was
Right.
really, really awesome. So talk to me about the computer, because that's a whole other
Yep.
character in this
Yep.
film. How did
Oh
you
yeah.
guys find the sound and
Yep.
who
Uh,
played the voice?
Yeah, so the computer, all of that was, I mean, we filmed it all practically, but all the sound and stuff was all post. I actually didn't have a whole lot of script written in for the computer's voice in the script. But after watching it, going through some edits, I'm like, you know what, there needs to be something else in here, because he's going to go crazy if it's just his voice in there. And so I actually the gal who plays the computer's voice is actually Hunter's girlfriend, Delaney, and she was also on set. She did the makeup as well. But it was just I had written down just a bunch of things for her to say, and we just recorded her later on. And then the sound designer on the film, who at the time was my girlfriend, Hannah, she's now my wife. Um, she put it to her like Pro Tools software and did some crazy special effects to it to make it all sound good and make it sound robotic with like a little bit of harmony in it. But that was a character that kind of came later on to the project, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. And shout out to the partners on this film. Awesome, you guys are
Absolutely.
married.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So cool. So talk to me about your background in film. How did you get into filmmaking? Who are your biggest
Yeah,
inspirations?
yeah. So ever since I was really young, I was very lucky. My dad, he has we have a bunch of Apple computers at home, and Apple has this program called iMovie, which is somewhat like Windows Movie Maker. It's pretty simple editing software. And I had a bunch of Legos, and I grew up watching like Wallace and Gromit and stuff like that, and I was really into stop motion animation. So I made a bunch of stop motion animations with Legos as a kid, and that really kind of it helped me out with like timing and editing and that kind of stuff. As I got into high school, I started watching a lot more serious movies, and I got really, really into sci-fi. I would do these videos where I'd film my younger brothers just like fighting with Nerf swords, and I would change it to lightsabers and like post and then add some sound effects and whatnot. So just little stuff like that just kind of pushed me to doing something with a lot of special effects, practical and visual effects. And then in terms of like my main inspirations for film work, I love sci-fi, but I love a lot of other stuff too. One of the movies that really impacted me growing up was Whiplash, which is
Oh,
an incredible movie.
one of my favorite
It's
films.
so good,
And
and
how they made it, like he did
yeah,
proof of concept first and
yep.
then made it. Oh, I
The proof
agree.
of concept is
Ah,
awesome because it's just a scene. It's not like a teaser of the whole movie. It's just a scene, and it's a great
right.
scene. I somehow my friend knew about it, and he was like, "Hey, let's go watch this in theaters." And was very lucky to watch Whiplash in theaters because it was
Wow.
a really small project. But besides that, I grew up watching Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Always loved fantastical worlds and that kind of stuff. But for NESO specifically, I think, like I said, the big inspiration was Alien, and then a little bit of Interstellar as well. But those two are like the big ones for sure.
Super cool. And also, I really wanted to throw in there, I love how you were like, yeah, I took videos of them doing Nerf swords and changed them into lightsabers, little stuff like that. Doesn't sound little, but so humble. So I
It was very tedious. It was a lot of work for
and
10
stop
seconds of
motion
footage.
tedious.
Yes,
Sounds like
yes.
you're doing some pretty difficult stuff. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's a lot of fun.
that's
Very,
awesome.
very fun.
So, last question for you is how you heard about Garden State Film Festival and how's it feel to be screening here?
I'm very honored. I'm very honored to be a part of this festival. There are so many film festivals out there that it's hard to keep track of which one is which. But it is. I actually didn't realize this was the 21st year for this
Yes.
festival. So I think that's really cool. I'm really going to try and make it to the festival. We're not sure. I live in Virginia, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to make it or not. But I'm definitely going to try. But I'm very, very honored to be a part of it.
Oh, I mean, it's such an awesome experience to have NESO playing here. There's so many different types of films, so many different genres. So I'm really happy to have this a part of the lineup. Congratulations to you and everyone involved. Let me tell everyone how they can see NESO and how you can see it if you come from Virginia. It'll be screening at Berkeley Hotel in the Kingsley Ballroom Saturday, March 25th in the film block, 5:45 to 8 p.m. So definitely check it out. Josiah, congratulations again. Thank you for taking
Thank
the
you.
time out, and hopefully I'll see you at the festival.
Thank you. Sounds good. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.